This is Sid with SVTperformance.com, and I'm standing here with the new 2015 F-150. A lot has changed with the 2015 model. We've got an aluminum body, a new smaller 2.7 liter EcoBoost engine, and Ford wanted us to put this truck through its paces and test it out to give our opinion on its performance, durability, and basically overall general everyday livability. Personally, I was excited to try out the 2.7 liter EcoBoost. At just 2.7 liters in displacement, it's by far the smallest engine available in the half-ton segment. But with what it may lack in displacement, it makes up for with boost. This small engine borrows a lot of technology from the 6.7 liter Power Stroke diesel. It's got direct injection, turbocharging, in this case twin turbocharging, and a compacted graphite iron block to put up with the higher cylinder pressures from the turbocharging and its 10-to-1 compression ratio. So in true SVT performance fashion, we decided the best way to test this truck out was to take it on a 2,000-mile road trip from our headquarters in South Carolina to Detroit, Michigan. We want to see if this aluminum-bodied small displacement truck can perform to the level that we performance enthusiasts demand.
Our test truck was a middle-of-the-road extended cab four-wheel drive XLT package. It was outfitted with a lot of popular options, including a trailer tow package, remote start, LED side mirror spotlights, the extremely helpful integrated tailgate step, LED box lighting, and a spray-in bed liner. One of our favorite new additions is the integration of the tailgate lock with the central locking system. So now the tailgate can be locked and unlocked with the key fob. Unfortunately, all of these options and the additional standard features have led to an MSRP of $42,635. We feel that's a little bit pricey for this truck. For 2015, Ford has upgraded its corporate 8.8-inch rear axle to what it now calls the Super 8.8. Its increased strength and lighter weight has allowed engineers to spec it instead of the much heavier 9.75-inch rear axle across much of the line. Engineers have also targeted variable weight, such as fuel capacity. Our test truck was outfitted with a 23-gallon fuel tank, but a 36-gallon tank is available as an option. The new interior for 2015 is easily the best that's ever been fitted to a Ford truck. The dash has a great-looking modern design, and we really like the inclusion of a 110-volt power outlet. Ford did a good job of incorporating soft-touch materials in certain places, but we still would have liked to have seen a little bit less hard textured plastic, especially on the door panels. When pulling up to a stoplight, we were surprised to discover the new start-stop feature that's included with the 2.7 liter EcoBoost engine. I think it's safe to say that we were all a little freaked out when the truck just died in traffic, but the system quickly recovered as soon as we let our foot off the brake. The engine starts right up and then you're ready to take off. There's also tons of storage space, and the parking brake is now electrically actuated. Once out on the road, the first thing we noticed was that the new 2015 F-150 feels much lighter on its feet than the outgoing model. Ford claims they've cut as much as 750 pounds from these trucks, and it's instantly apparent in all the driving dynamics. Put it simply, everything works better. The handling is more nimble, the brakes are more positive feeling, and the acceleration is much stronger. This all adds up to a far greater performance improvement than we were really expecting. But that's really only the first part of this story. We left Charlotte, North Carolina, and drove straight to the Virginia International Raceway. There we took in the sights and sounds of a high-performance driving experience track day and met up with our longtime associates, Dan and the guys at Pro Dyno. They were on hand with their mobile chassis dyno, and we just couldn't pass up the opportunity to strap down this truck and see how much power the 2.7 liter EcoBoost can put to the ground. And after spinning the rollers, it's safe to say we weren't disappointed. The smallest engine in the F-150 lineup put down 272 horsepower and 351 torque at the rear wheels. Peak torque was made at 3,000 RPMs, but we never saw less than 300 pound-feet throughout the entire run. So with half the displacement, this mid-range EcoBoost engine is putting out more power than the old 5.4 liter 3-valve V8 from just 5 years ago. And increased power is only part of the equation here. We actually recorded over 23 miles per gallon on the highway during our test drive. After the fun on the dyno, we stopped by the paddock to borrow this car hauler from MGW Shifters. It was loaded with their 2013 Boss 302S race car, which was used in the development of the MGW second generation GT500 shifter. The total weight of this combination was about 6,000 pounds. This F-150's powertrain combination gave a very diesel-like towing experience. That comes from the 2.7-liter EcoBoost high torque output and very broad, flat torque curve. You can even hear the turbos working when you start to feed in a little more throttle. The brakes do a really good job of controlling the speed of the rig, even during steep downhill grades. The integrated trailer brake controller that we've all become accustomed to really adds to that braking confidence as well. The only shortcoming we discovered during the towing portion of our test was that the 2015 F-150 seems to be affected by a crosswind just a little bit more than the previous generation. But that just comes down to simple physics. A lighter truck is more easily moved around during towing than a heavier truck. But that's a small price to pay for the increased acceleration and better braking of the aluminum-bodied truck. After returning the trailer to the guys at MGW, it was time to get back on the road. As we mentioned earlier, the fuel economy was surprisingly good. Most of this trip was open highway driving, but in southern West Virginia we decided to get off the interstate and try out some backwoods country roads. And while there's no mistaking that this is a four-wheel drive half-ton truck, the suspension did a respectable job of giving a sporty feel on the curvy mountain roads. And speaking of sport, the 2015 F-150 has an interesting new feature, a sport mode button on the end of the column shifter. It works in basically the same way as the sport mode on the 2015 Mustang. It firms up the shifts, holds the gears a little bit longer, and downshifts on deceleration. It's a nice little addition to an already feature-packed truck. And that brings us to the end of our road trip. But you may be wondering why we decided to go to Detroit. Well, we received a phone call from Dean Martin at Rehagen Racing, and he said that he had a little something we may be interested in. All we needed was one look to know that this road trip was totally worth it. All I can say is take a look at what's on the top shelf in this photo. Any of you guys who've been on the Ford scene for a while will instantly know what that is. But that's a story for another video. Until then, click subscribe and check out svtperformance.com for all the latest news, reviews, and in-depth technical information for everything Ford performance related.